All right, guys. Well, we made it, and I think to start the show,
I'm
we're
back.
gonna. And you are back, Scruff. Congratulations. Episode 100. Let's get it rolling.
Hey, Star Wars fans and Rule the Galaxy fans. It is Joe from the Rule the Galaxy podcast. Just want to take a moment and say congratulations to the Hyperspace Heroes podcast reaching their 100th episode. You're really going to enjoy it because they've got a great guest for their 100th episode. And I'm excited to watch it and listen to it on YouTube or on the podcast. But to Brown Leader, to Scruffy, to DB, thanks for being great members of the Star Wars podcast community, the Star Wars community in general. It's been great to get to know you over the past few years, meeting up at the ICCC in Nashville and just being in constant contact since then. We've been on your show. You've been on our show. We plan to do that more in the future. And you're just a great group of guys, and you do really good things in the Star Wars community. So congratulations on 100 episodes of the Hyperspace Heroes podcast. And here's to another 100. And until next time, may the Force be with you.
I'll tell you what, that's enough to make a grown man cry.
That's awesome. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
Awesome.
And I think with that, we just need to get right into the show.
And now, on with the show.
Time for bladder check. Check.
Check.
Check. Wait. Screw it. I'm holding it.
Podcasting, the final audio frontier. These are the legends of Brown Squadron.
Our computer is picking up a strange signal. Here, sir, you better take a look at it.
The ongoing mission? To explore the Star Wars universe and other nerd culture topics. To seek new content and new cantinas, bars, and lounges. To boldly annoy Scruffy by making too many bad jokes. Welcome to the Hyperspace Heroes podcast.
And welcome to Hyperspace Heroes episode 100. We made it, guys.
Yes.
Episode 100, or 125 on the Spotchka scale. Real firm, that's for you. And this is for us.
We did it! We did it! We did it! Yay!
So that song will be burned into your brain now for the rest of the show. You're welcome very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So episode 100, here we are, guys. And the chat, everybody is starting to check in. We appreciate that because we have a very special guest tonight. And everyone that watches our show watches Star Wars, I'm sure. We have got a great guest booked for tonight, and he is just waiting backstage. We're going to bring him out in just a second. But the one thing that our fans know, our listeners and our viewers know, is that one of the things that we really love the most about live action Star Wars, especially in the modern era, is the amount of detail they give to the whole cast, not just the leads, but the whole cast, in terms of it's everyone in the show that brings it from a 2D image that we're watching to, for us, a 3D immersive experience, really, to watch the show. And our guest tonight is one of those cast members, and you know him as Uncle Iroh in the current Netflix Avatar: The Last Airbender series. Everybody's surrogate Appa in Kim's Convenience, and of course Mr. Carson Teva from the Star Wars universe. So let's bring on Mr. Paul Sun-Hyung Lee.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks for having me on.
Welcome.
And congratulations on your 100th episode.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. So, Paul, welcome to the show, and we appreciate you joining us tonight, and wanted to have you on just to kind of get to know you and just talk about what you've got going on and things in life in general. So we're also all big collectors, so I kind of thought we'd talk about that a little bit.
Awesome.
And yeah, so let's want to jump in. Let's jump into the chat real quick before we get rolling. We've got Brown 69 standing by. Tommy. We've got Brown 55 Sterling. We've got Ubaldo is in. Peeves TB DB. You know who that is.
Kind of familiar with him.
Ubaldo congratulating us on the 100th episode. Our buddies over at From a Certain Point of Skew, what's up? Congratulations on 100 episodes. And I've got a quick letter from him that he sent us. The showman, let's go. Brownie One himself standing by. And then, Tommy, thanks for the whoop whoop. And okay, so that's enough comments right now. Let's get right into it. We wanted to talk about a little bit about just like I said, just to kind of get to know you. You're an award winner. You've won countless awards on the Canadian Screen Awards, I believe, right? Best leading actor several times. And how long have you been, or actually, first question that we always ask our guests, just to kind of get to know you a little bit, is what does Star Wars mean to you?
Nothing. It means nothing. What is a Star War, as you put it? I mean, it means everything. You know, I grew up watching Star Wars as a fan since I was 5 years old, and my dad took my sister and I to see it in a darkened theater for the first time ever. It's left an indelible mark on my soul, my life. I'm a collector, a lifelong fan. And now I get a chance to have my dreams come true by actually being in a Star Wars show. And not just one Star Wars show, like 3 of them. So, I mean, my nerd cup runneth over.
Right on. DB,
as a lifelong fan, it all feels... Oh, is everything okay?
Yeah, I think you're cutting in and out a little bit.
Yeah, good old stable internet here up in Canada. Hold on. How's that? Sorry. Now you know it's live.
Right, exactly.
Now you know it's live.
Yeah.
Okay. Is everything clearing up?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, it looked like I'm broadcasting from the outer rim, so we'll just play it that way.
There we go.
There you go.
Am I frozen?
Right. We can't even get a hologram, so
yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
So, Paul, can you?
Yeah, I know, right? It's just like this is what you get when you patrol the outer rim. You get.
So.
Sketchy signal.
It is. It's kind of a rough signal.
It'll go.
The back.
Uh-oh.
Or,
how about now?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to exit.
All right.
Hold on.
Yep. All right. Well, he's working on that. So yeah, you can tell it's definitely live right tonight, folks. Paul's going to join us back in a second, but we'll go back to we got some congratulations additionally from a certain point of skew, our friends over there.
Fuzzballs.
Just wanted to say congrats on episode 100, regardless of what the real count is. Yes, thank you for paying attention to that. And love your show. Love the guests you've had on. And appreciate all the interaction we get from you guys. Long overdue for another collaboration. So that's from Brown 77 over at From a Certain Point of Skew. So thank you guys. Welcome back, Paul.
Hey, there he is.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Do I look like I'm broadcasting?
Still a little pixelated.
Okay.
Still and cutting in and out.
Sorry. Somebody's soaking up all the bandwidth in the neighborhood. There's a lot of people downloading porn or something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I was thinking it. I wasn't going to say it.
Oh, boy.
So yeah, we also got some congratulations from Force Dyad, our friends over at Force Dyad, Force Ghost Conversations, who is also going to be our guest next week. He was doing Tommy Blames DB.
What are you talking about, Tommy?
And here,
it's probably my fault.
Scruffy, are you going to run the chat or am I?
I thought I was running chat.
All right, you can run chat. And then a communications disruption can mean only one thing. You're absolutely right with that, Brown 77, for sure. So episode 100, we had Paul booked. So hopefully you'll be able to join us for the rest of the episode once he gets his internet fixed. But yeah, we wanted to make it a treat for everybody because this is, we really appreciate everybody that's stuck with us. Really means a lot. We've had a good time. We've been broadcasting for just a little over 3 years, but on video just since the beginning of 2024. And
I didn't think we would have enough content to last 5 or 6 episodes.
I know, right? So if you want some cringe factor, just dive into our archives, go back to episode 1 of our previous show, Alderaan A-Holes, and you can definitely get some cringe audio. Downloading dark side content right on. Well, this is going to be a show for the records,
Absolutely. Well, it's not as bad as was it last week or the week before?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, my audio went down the tubes. So
yeah,
at least you're not solo.
Right on. All right, Paul.
Hey, who's this guy?
Hey, clear.
Uh-oh.
Like how does it look? Is everything okay? I don't know what's going on. I'm still pixelated for fuck. I understand why. I don't know. Nothing can be easy.
No, nothing
is ever easy.
No.
Well, we'll try.
Nothing
our
can
question.
Be easy.
Right.
There's a huge amount of lag then.
A little bit.
Okay.
And all right.
Okay. Sorry. You know what? I'm gonna do a hard re-meet. I'm so sorry, guys. Give me a few minutes.
That's all right.
No,
it's all good. No worries.
No problem.
We're good at stalling thanks to DB's expertise and
my expertise is computer.
I can fill 25 minutes, no problem. So
you
did good too. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
This feels like Christmas morning, We've got this big guest star, but on Christmas when you have to watch other people open presents, it's like, no, bring me my present.
Right. You gonna play that latest comment, Scruff? So last week was amazing.
Was
amazing. Yeah, we had Brown 69.
I haven't had a chance to watch that episode yet because somebody had to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
I'll blame the guy who does my schedule.
Yep. And Scruff, one of the things that we showed last week, and I saved this picture just to show you this week, but the Jedi Bob set for the new Lego Star Wars special has a gong.
Seriously?
Yeah. So
okay, what set did that come from?
This one, it's the Lego, and Brown 69 may or may not have ordered one. So if you know where he lives, you might know where to find that. So
as a matter of fact, I do know where he lives, and and coincidentally, I know when he's at work too.
Yeah, I know, right?
All right.
Not that we would ever do anything.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
No, absolutely not. So no, I would never do that.
Right on. So 100 episodes. So while we're waiting for Paul to rejoin us, it's kind of a good reflection point, really, in terms of looking back over 100 episodes. 25 episodes we had Chris Bartlett on, and
hey, speaking of Chris, look what I dug out to go to ICCC.
Yeah,
nice.
I've got mine set aside somewhere.
I'm gonna get him to scribble on this for me.
Yeah, right on. I've got mine somewhere around here. But
yeah, it is time to start digging that stuff out here. We got 9 weeks to go, 8 weeks to go.
We'll be doing some live podcasting, maybe some man on the street from ICCC.
Yes, we have a GoPro 9 just sitting in the box waiting to go.
Woo-hoo.
Nice. I picked up a.
You better pull that out of the box, make sure it works.
Oh, it works. I checked it.
Okay.
Upgraded to an actual gimbal.
Oh, nice.
So definitely going to be doing that. And
do we have a favorite? Well,
do we have a favorite?
That's like asking you to pick your favorite kid.
True. Yeah, I don't know if I could put a favorite out there. I mean, Chris Bartlett, Vanessa Marshall was awesome. I mean, we've had some great guests on here, and it's always fun when we do a collaboration with like Rule the Galaxy or any of the other podcasts that we work with.
We made some really good friends doing this, and it's great to swap shows and go on and just talk with other people because hey, it's just three of us, and Scruffy always wants to talk Trek, so there's my first Star Trek reference of the show, gang.
All right, got it out of your system now.
No, I got some more coming.
Don't make me play the clip. I don't even know where it's at anymore. It's been so long since I've messed with it.
Oh.
There we go.
Here we go. Oh, much.
Is that better?
It is better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah, it's all good.
All right,
joys of a live show. It's all good.
Yeah.
Right. So we were kind of talking about what Star Wars means to you, and you're kind of going into your first experience a little bit, and that's when it first started kind of cutting in and out.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, I hate Star Wars. I think everybody knows I hate Star Wars. I don't collect. I want nothing to do with it. It's a garbage franchise. No, I mean, it's been a huge part of my life, man. And since I was 5, my dad took my sister and I to go see it in the movie theater. It's been something I've dreamed about for a long time, and to finally be able to sort of live that dream, especially as an actor, a Canadian actor, to be able to be part of this universe in not one but 3 different shows is incredible. Something that I never thought would ever happen. And the byproduct of all that stuff too is like I get to meet awesome fans like you guys and connect with y'all like online at cons. It's kind of like it's been great because I've been sort of equated to, my character has been equated to as like the Agent Coulson of the Star Wars universe, or the R2D2, because he's just kind of there for a lot of it, and he doesn't have any special force abilities. He's kind of the every person gateway for a lot of fans, and I think a lot of fans connect with that because I'm the dude that they get to follow around and kind of go, he's like one of us, right?
Yes.
And it's something that I take to heart, that I appreciate very, very much, and it means a lot to me as well to be able to do that. And so I try to represent myself and try to give back as much as I can to the different communities and to anybody who reaches out, and just to make myself accessible, because I love telling the story of being on set and my experiences. I love sharing that, and I think people love hearing about it too. And so, yeah, it's one of those things where when you get a chance to live out your dreams come true, you want to share that experience with whoever wants to ask you about it. So,
on
Star Wars.
Right on. Now, when your dad took you to the film, was that your first Star Wars experience? And
oh yeah, I mean that was the only Star. I mean I was 5, right? There's nothing else. That was literally ground zero,
right?
And Star Wars was being introduced to the world. I mean, if you really want to be pedantic, I mean, there was Flash Gordon was a precursor to it. Any sort of Kurosawa film, like Hidden Fortress. Those were the heavy influences of George Lucas, right? But Star Wars itself, I mean, that was ground zero, and everything sort of sprang from there, from Empire to Return of the Jedi, and then you had the prequels, obviously, and then the sequel trilogy. But in between there, you had Solo, and you also had Rogue One. So but that was the one that started it all, and it also started my intense relationship with like action figures and toys. and collecting, right? So it's a double whammy.
Right. Right.
It's such an impressionable age. Yeah, we're all in the same demographic. You know, to go in the movie and see that opening scene with the Star Destroyer, it's like, boom, you're hooked right now.
Yeah.
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 For sure.
100%. 100%.
Now, did you know that you always wanted to go into acting, or was that something kind of later in life? Or
no, I mean, I didn't even know I could be an actor growing up because I didn't see very many examples of people who look like me on the screen, right? So it's one of those things where, you know, you say the phrase representation matters and everybody goes, yeah, right. But it's true. You know, when kids see somebody who looks like their families or themselves up on a big screen, it makes a big difference because then suddenly it becomes possible for them. Whereas if you don't see anybody that looks like you, or the people who do look like you are made fun of or made to be the outsiders, it really does send a message of, my story is not important. I'm not important. My family's not important, right? And, you know, that's the power of media. We experience it every day with these supercomputers we have in our pockets, right? Like you could reach a vast audience and you could say one careless thing and it could ruin you, or you can say one really inspiring thing and you can go viral. It's one of those, that's the power of social media right now. And so, you know, it is this whole idea of just being the best of ourselves, or putting the best of ourselves out there, especially because, you know, social media, a lot of people, you end up trying to put, maybe not, you know, in the attempt to put the best of yourself out there, people sort of create this unsustainable sort of facade of themselves out there, this hyper idealistic view of themselves. And it's hard. And some people, they crack under that pressure and like, they don't have the picturesque home with the Instagram worthy meals that they cook every day with the perfect pets and the perfect kids and this lifestyle. Right. And so like that's a trap to fall into as well. But like in terms of just trying to sort of be the best version of yourself every day for yourself, and not to be demonstrative to anybody else, but just for yourself, I think is more powerful. And for those in media as well, I mean, that it is a powerful medium. And so to have a healthy message out there where there is true representation of the people who live in this world, not, you know, beautiful models, you know, who are just like, not everybody looks like they do on TV, right? Like you got a lot of pretty people on TV, which is great. But at the same time, like when you're looking for that slice of life, that sort of realistic depiction of what a universe should be, it should have all sorts of shapes and colors and races and whatnot, right? So, you know, that's the importance, I think, of for example, me seeing myself or people who look like me on the screen, because I didn't know I could be an actor. I didn't see any examples, and it wasn't until university that I just sort of fell into it by accident and found out that I loved it. And it was like, yeah, it was intoxicating. It was something that I really wanted to learn. And, you know, when you're in school, you're sheltered, right? It's one of the things where everybody gets a part, everybody gets a chance. You all get, you know, that's the most sheltered you'll ever be. And then once you get into the real world, it's really hard to get a job, or it was really hard back then. And I've had to work and I've had to fight tooth and nail for every role that I've ever gotten. And, you know, I'm proud to say that at this point in my career, because I've been working and grinding it out and being ready for my opportunities, I've been able to capitalize on them and sort of, you know, get to the point where I'm at. And I'm really sort of benefiting from that hard work right now. But I also realize that not a lot of people get that opportunity either. And they're more talented or have worked even harder than I have. And sometimes they just don't get that break yet. So
right on. No, that's a really good life lesson, for sure.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I was surprised when I was looking up your IMDb page. It was like 73 credits on there, and I was like, yeah, oh man, you've definitely been hustling for a while for sure. And then you landed. How did Kim's Convenience kind of come about?
Well, Kim's Convenience actually started off as a stage play. And a lot of people don't know that. And it was written, initially it started as 2 scenes from a playwriting workshop that a theater company in Toronto had. It was called Fujian Theater Company, which was, you know, had an emphasis on Asian Canadian playwrights and plays. Inch Choi, who's the writer of Kim's Convenience, who was part of that playwriting workshop. And he wrote 2 scenes. They went over very, very well, and he was encouraged to expand those 2 scenes into a full-length play. And I got involved after that because Ince needed Korean, like an older Korean guy to play the dad. And there aren't very many older Korean actors around. At least back then there weren't, right? Because there's just no work for them. And so, yeah, I became involved in that. And, I became the voice of Appa, the character that I play. And I helped over the course of the next 5 years, helped develop the character. I read for him. We did many workshops of the play. And then finally, in 2010, Ince had finished the play and he shopped it around to every theater company in Toronto, and they all turned it down. None of them wanted to have anything to do with it. And so because Ince had worked on it for so long, he needed to see it up on its feet. So he entered it into the Toronto Fringe Festival. We got in and became a smash hit of the Fringe, and it connected with audiences. People loved it. We sold out every run. We won the patrons pick. We did best of Fringe, and then the momentum kept going. And then every single theater company that said no to the play initially came knocking afterwards and said, hey, we'd love to present Kim's Convenience on our stages, right? And Ince ended up going with Soul Pepper Theater Company, which is one of the bigger theater companies in Toronto. Ince had been part of their acting academy there, so he knew the people, he knew the theater, and he knew they would grow the show, and they did. And we premiered on their main stage January 2012. And again, we crushed it at Soul Pepper, and that turned into a Canadian national tour. And while we're on tour, it became they signed a deal to develop into a TV series. And then 2016, the first episode of Kim's Convenience aired on CBC, which is our national broadcaster here, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. And again, rave reviews, and the show just sort of took off from there.
Very cool.
So-
Yeah. Go ahead, Scruff.
So, quick question: is the Jeongching wedgie actually real?
Dongjim.
Don't-
It's a
don't-
dongjim, and
don't-
it's
don't
not
jim.
as much of a wedgie as it is somebody poking their fingers up your ass. You can do the single, the double, the one hand, and it's a thing. It is a thing, right? It literally is a poop needle, dongjim, right? So,
All right, well, guys, beware for the don't.
and
don't
girls,
jim.
watch out. You have to realize that there are a lot of these kind of physical, torturous games in Korean culture because, during the Korean War, a lot of people grew up and they didn't have toys because everything was destroyed. So there are a lot of slapping games that are going on. Bill Cosby had this bit about this game they play in Philadelphia called Buck Buck, and it was basically guys would make a human chain, and they would lean up against the wall, and people would run and jump on this chain, and see how many jumps it would take before they could knock it over, and they called it Buck Buck. That actually originated in Korea. Right, so this is there are a lot of timing games, slapping games, the hand slapping games. It's just Koreans didn't have during the war there were no toys, so they had to come up with ways to sort of entertain themselves, and so that's where it came about. And so the dongjiming thing, it's a real thing.
I had to ask because that episode cracked me up.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, that cannot be real, but somehow that sounds like the three of us at work.
Yeah.
Right?
Again,
it does. Did you choose? Oh, yeah, great question.
Yes.
From Yubcast. So, did you choose the voice? Because you in the show you play South Korean immigrants raising your kids in Canada.
Yeah.
And is that an accent that you used to have, or is that something that you created for the show?
That's my dad's voice.
Okay.
I'm literally using my dad's voice, and that is often it can be a very divisive thing amongst people, the use of the voice. When we first premiered, there were a lot of white people who were basically saying, that's racist. It's racist. That voice is racist. It's so racist. How can an Asian man sound Asian? That's racist. And it was really funny, that kind of outrage. And some Asian people too saying, oh my God, I'm Korean and we don't sound like that at all. And the funny thing is, he's not meant to sound like you. He's my dad. He's got his own voice.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one Korean person in particular was very, very insulted and very upset and saying, and they're from Southern California, and said, my dad is Korean and he immigrated here and he does not sound like that. And that guy is racist. He should be ashamed for his, and it was called an Uncle Tom type of character. And, it was that moment of outrage. Well, first you kind of go, well, first of all, I think you have a lot of baggage to unpack there because your response to this is way over the top. Second of all, yeah, that's your dad, and your dad had his journey and grew up or immigrated to different part of the world than my dad. My dad came from South Korea. We immigrated to London, Ontario in Canada, right, where he had to learn to speak English, then to Scarborough, Ontario, which is a suburb of Toronto, right? And then we moved to Calgary, Alberta. So his journey and the English he grew up, or so not grew up, but he learned from in different parts of Canada were different from somebody who would say had immigrated to New York and then moved down south to say Florida, right? Or across to the west coast of California. You're going to have different linguistic sounds just from even the people who grew up there, right? Because you can tell somebody from New York from somebody who grew up in Texas, right? There is there is a difference in that. And so it became this thing where the show suddenly had to represent all Koreans everywhere, or every Asian family everywhere. And a lot of people took umbrage to that. And I think a lot of people were just like really taken aback. But like the question that I want to pose is, y'all remember that show Falcon Crest way back in the day? Or Dynasty? Yes. It's like, so did they represent every white family? Like, how is that? Like, how could, like, it is a family, not every family. And the biggest thing about Kim's is what we wanted to do is sort of go, we got very specific with that family, but the things that they went through, we hoped were universal. The difficulty that generations have communicating with each other is universal. The relationships between fathers and sons can be very complicated, and that's universal. Parents pressuring their children and wanting them to succeed, but going about telling them what they need to do is universal, right? And so that's what we tried to sort of go on. And the family itself was very specifically Toronto, Korean, Canadian, right? And it wasn't meant to be anything else. But we had fans from all over the world who saw their own families, and they weren't Korean either. We've had Greek families come in and say, "Oh my God, that's our dynamic." We've had families from Australia, families from Sweden, all over the world, kind of going, that's a father-son, that's a father-daughter, that's a mother-son and mother-daughter, husband and wife dynamic that we find familiar and recognizable, and thus humorous to them, right? But the voice itself, that's my father's voice. That's how he talks. And, I'll fight anybody if they want to say it's racist, because it's like, no. And again, getting back to that too, there are a lot of people who are outraged on our behalf. And it was like, it's cool. It's cool. I get it, because for the majority of time, whenever you did hear an Asian accent, it was done in a very racist sort of manner, because up until then, there'd been a steady diet of just, caricaturist, it just not non-real characters. They were just like stereotypes and stuff like that. So I get that. So when that's what you're used to, it's kind of like a dog whistle. You hear it and you go, "Oh my God, that's racist." Instead of like taking a breath and like maybe watching some of the content and going, oh, okay. Instead of, jumping to those conclusions. The knee-jerk reactionism, as it were. But that's my dad, and I love my dad very, very much. And I was very, very proud to be able to play a character that paid homage to him and to my uncles and my grandfather and all the stubborn, crazy Korean men that I grew up with, because it really was a love letter to them. Yeah. And the other thing was we tried to portray them as realistically as possible with all their faults. They weren't perfect. And just, it is one of those lovely roles of a lifetime that has given me so much and opened so many doors. I mean, that's why I got Star Wars, because Dave Filoni liked my work in Kim's Convenience, right? And he became aware of my work because of Kim's Convenience. So,
very awesome.
Very awesome. Yeah, 2 points on that really quick. And one, you're right about the universal kind of lessons and tones of the show that it imparted. Because as a viewer, when I watched it, because I've watched all of Kim's, and that's what I found too. I was like, okay, here's a Korean family in Toronto, learned a little bit about Korean culture, but at the same time, a lot of the lessons were very universal. That any culture, any family dynamic, just like you explained, I saw all the same stuff when I was watching. So it definitely comes across that way. And as for the different dialects of like you were talking about, one of my best friends in high school, his dad immigrated from South Korea and learned English, and so kind of had that stiff, accent, but was Midwest, was similar but a little different, because now you're talking more Detroit area, Midwest kind of thing. So I now that you've pointed that out, I can definitely kind of hear those differences a little bit.
Yeah, there are influences in all the language, right? I mean, it's so funny because you said Toronto and you said it. I mean, I could tell you're from Michigan because of the way you said Toronto. It's like, because you say Toronto, not Toronto. And I've been saying Toronto because I'm on a show right now where in the old days, they never said it. It's because it's set in 1912. They're very proper and they would say Toronto. Right. And so like, I'm in that habit now, but it's like with that, we have to catch ourselves from sounding too modern or too contemporary. So, and that was one of the things we had with one of our guests came on and he was saying Toronto. And we're like, can't say it like you're from here. You have to say Toronto. Yeah. And it was the hardest thing for him to do. Right. So,
Scruffy, I cut you off.
Was there any specific Star Wars character that inspired your role as Carson Teva? I mean, I know they wrote the role for you, but was there an influence that kind of brought that character to life?
No, and that's a lovely thing about having a character. God, I sounded so Canadian then. About
yes.
Having a character that's brand new, right? Favreau and John and Dave, they describe Teva as like a New York beat cop. He's been around the block. He's a veteran. He's got to get, the neighborhood kind of puts up with him. They like him. When they need him in a pinch, he's there type thing. But at the end of the day, he's still a cop, right? And for me, I sort of took that one step further, and it was like, okay, instead of a beat cop in New York, because he's patrolling the Outer Rim, he's more like a Texas Ranger, right? He's got a vast amount of territory he has to sort of patrol. He's undermanned. He has limited resources, and he knows the only way he can make any of this work is if he has the cooperation of everybody, that all the settlements, if he has relationships with them. And he also knows he can't follow the letter of the law because that is unrealistic. And it's not going to help him out. He can't do that. He doesn't have limitless resources, and he has to be very, very smart about how he approaches any sort of problem. And so that's sort of the template that I had, was kind of a cowboy, and it made sense too because the Mandalorian is such a Western feeling show, right? And the whole idea too, like what was the old saying back in the day? One riot, one ranger. So when in season 1, when the New Republic shows up and there's 3 X-wings, they go in guns blazing, right? Like, they don't, hey, what's going on? Like, they go in and they blow the hell out of that station where the mercenaries are. And so that was the idea too, is like when the New Republic shows up, if you're ready for a fight, you're going to get a bloody nose type thing. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, my influences were, obviously some of the Westerns of the day, right? I just wanted to play a competent sort of like veteran, right? And it's funny too, because I know I referred to him as like a cop, but I don't see him as a policeman or police figure. His role now is policing, but he's a soldier. He's a veteran, right? He's a pilot. He fought during the rebellion. And so now in a time of peace, what do soldiers do? They end up taking police action, right? Mm-hmm. Which is kind of like not really what they signed up for. But the way I look at it, Teva he's noticing things are happening in the Outer Rim, that the Empire is, reforming, and no one's listening to him, right? So he's trying to put this puzzle together and try to sound the warning for the New Republic. And so that's what's sort of keeping him a little bit busy other than the mundane sort of like flying around going, you're flying too close and too fast to this commercial liner. You gotta slow down. None of this stuff. Or doing spot checks on Razor Crests that happen to be flying without a transponder signal.
Right.
So yeah, but no overt sort of influences. It might be sort of an amalgam because he doesn't have the sort of swagger of a Han Solo, for example, nor is he as strict or adherent to the rules or uptight about them as say a Yord from like the Acolyte, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not to the letter of the law. He's one of those guys that's been around the block and he knows, the advantages of playing in the gray areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right on. So DB, did you have a quick question?
Oh, I have 1,000, but I know our time is limited. No, I was thinking of your description, and it's so accurate because I think he's the everyman who just keeps noticing these things, and he's not way up the chain of command where people are going to listen to him. And he's kind of going, "Hey, did you see this? And did you see this? They're probably related." And you pull that off so well. So.
Mm-hmm.
And
thank you.
I've been binging Kim's Convenience, but I like how both of these characters are the everyman, but in different capacities.
Yeah. Yeah. One guy's he's just trying to make a living and support his family the best way he can. And the other guy, I mean, Carson Teva believes in the New Republic. He fought during the rebellion, and instead of just sort of like mustering out and going, okay, the war is over, I'm going to go back to my civilian life, he's stuck.
Yeah.
Like he's there. He's flying on behalf of the New Republic in the Outer Rim, right? It's not the core worlds, nothing sexy. He's out there still grinding away.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to his loyalty and how what he believes in.
Yeah, I just rewatched the scene toward the end of the second season where you had some interaction with Cara Dune and you talked about, well, I served on Alderaan, and there's that relationship between veterans there that was stronger than most people gave it credit for.
Yeah. And what I love too is that was the introduction of Teva. Very rarely just comes right out and says something point blank. What he'll do is like he can be direct, but what he likes to do is make he likes you to come to that conclusion. So when he says, like I served during Alderaan, did you lose anyone? Well, of course he knows she's lost everybody. Like who didn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, for me, it's like I love comment sections for that because people lost their minds and go, well, no, of course you did. And it's like, yeah, he knows that. Like he knows that. That's his subtle way of giving her a bit of a kick, saying, I am so sorry for your loss. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? You can do something about that, right? And that's what he does. Season 3, when he goes and he finds Mandalorian and he says, your friend's in trouble and I just thought you should know. Like, it's not your fight, but I thought you should know.
Right.
And that's a little kick in the ass to go do something, right? Only you can do. And so like, that's what I love about the depth of his character is he doesn't put words in people's mouths. He just gives them that little subtle nudge to sort of do it. I'm just telling you. Whatever you do is what you do, but I'm just telling you, and I think you should know, and that's, I think that's a testament to the writing. It's fun to get scripts like that. It's fun to collaborate with all the different directors and producers. It's an amazing experience.
There's some high quality talent behind that show in all aspects.
Yeah. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm there. Right? It's like, I can't believe I'm here. Look at this. Oh, look, there's Katie Sackhoff. She's amazing. Right? Holy crap. It's like, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? Right? Like, oh, geez.
You're allowing the opportunity for all of us nerd fans to live vicariously through your experience of being on the show. But so I, like DB said, time is, we want to let you get going here in a little bit, but I wanted to touch on real quick too. How did the Uncle Iroh role come to be for Avatar?
So in 2018, people started fan cat. Well, I think Netflix, they announced that they were doing a live action remake of the animated series, and I think I got fan casted by a bunch of people because of my work on Kim's Convenience. And I think honestly it was because, oh my god, he's an old Asian guy with a beard and no hair. He'd be perfect as Iroh, right? And to a certain extent, yeah, I looked similar to the character, but I also like to think that people kind of went, oh my god, yeah, no, and he's a good actor, and he'll be great in this. But at the time, I was doing Kim's Convenience, and nobody approached me about that. And so let's squash the rumor where everybody thinks I got fan cast and it was just because of the fans. There was an audition involved. There was some stuff involved in that. Kim's Convenience, I was doing Kim's at the time. There's no way I could do another show. And then we flash forward to 2021. Kim's Convenience had ended by that point, and they still hadn't cast a part of Iroh. I didn't know this, and I got an audition. I got a submission from my audition for my agent saying, "Hey, the show called what was it called? Oh my god, not Trade Winds, Blue something. They want you to audition for their movie." And I was like, okay. And it was a basketball movie. They were fake sides. It was for a basketball movie. I almost didn't do it because I was feeling lazy. And I was like, nah, I'll do it. And because the writing was fun, and the whole premise was the guy I was playing was named Harold. And Harold was a retired collegiate basketball coach. And back in the day, he used to be a hell of a player. Then he became a coach, and he was sort of like world renowned. And then he retired. And was coming out of retirement to mentor his young nephew, who was a basketball prodigy. And I thought, oh, okay. So I did the audition. It was great. I thought it was great. And then I didn't hear anything about it for like a month. And I thought, okay, so that happens. You submit, and then I forget about it right away. I don't obsess over parts anymore because you go crazy. And then my agent, like a month later, was like, "Hey, yeah, so you got a call back for this Blue movie." And I was like, "What the hell? That's great. What movie is that? What is that again?" So I had to look it up, and it's like, "Oh, the basketball movie. Cool." Like, all right, because I thought it went over really well. And then I got sides. The casting department said, "Oh, by the way, the part you're reading for Harold, his real name is Iroh." And I was like, "Oh, wait a minute." Wait a minute. And I thought, oh shit. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. And then I started to freak out because all of a sudden it was like, oh, it's for Avatar. And I really wanted to get the part all of a sudden. And then I was really kind of like freaked out because it's like, oh my God, this is huge. This is huge if I get it. And I really wanted it. And, I did the audition, and that went really well. And then I did a chemistry read with Dallas Liu, who played Zuko, and then nothing for 2 weeks. And I thought, okay, well, I guess I didn't get it again. And then, 2 weeks later, my agents called and said, "Hey, so they want to offer you the part." It's great. So I thought, oh, that's like incredible. And I was at a car dealership because we were buying a new car at the time. And I was literally about to sign on the dotted line when my phone rang. It was my agent. I was like, "Oh, this is important. I gotta take this." And that's when I found out I was in the parking lot of a car dealership. And so, but it happened really late in the process. And like literally like a month, like 4 weeks after I got cast, I was in Vancouver, and we're getting fitted for prosthetics for like, hair and wig stuff and costume fittings and stuff. And I was still shooting Mandalorian at that time. And so it was just like, there was a lot of running back and forth between LA and Vancouver. So it was pretty surreal. And I was really surprised that they hadn't cast Iroh earlier. So
very cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Very cool. And that's where you had to I think I remember reading you had to do a fake mustache for your Mandalorian parts because they had shaved it, right?
Yeah.
For Avatar. So
they built a little, I called it my little merkin. That went right there. And so you can see it at the, some certain part. See, I can see it. Season 3, I'm looking going, oh yeah, I'm wearing it.
Right.
But they did a great job. And unless you're absolutely looking for it, you can't tell. So.
Right on. Well, I'm gonna have to go back and do a rewatch. For
sure. Now we got to do a rewatch.
now that I know it's called the Merkin for sure.
Right.
So can you discuss your cause? Oh yeah, so
So, what got you into cosplay, and what's your favorite?
I had always been into cosplay, even when I was younger. I just didn't do it as much because I didn't have the resources. But my first real memory of putting together like a dedicated costume was in grade 6, and it was for Halloween. And I'm a huge Star Trek fan, and
Yeah.
I put together a science officer uniform, and I cosplayed as Mr. Spock.
Did you have the ears?
I had the ears. I had a tricorder that I built. I had this blue, I don't know, there's like this 70s, I think it was my dad's old shirt or something like that from the 70s. So it was this blue sort of velour sort of color, but it was a perfect color, and the material looked close to season 2 of Star Trek. And so like the collar was all messed up, but I sort of cheated that and folded it down. I had a black shirt underneath, and it made it look like the V-neck. And I painstakingly recreated the chevron with the science symbol that I glued to my shirt. So I made it look as good as I could on my own, with Korean immigrant parents going, "What the hell are you doing?" Like, and so that's where it started. And it really sort of, I got back into it hardcore actually in 2015. We had just been on tour with Kim's Convenience, and I needed a break, and I wanted the distraction. And it was like going to be the I think it was the 36th anniversary of Ghostbusters or something like that. And I got it in my head that I wanted to build a replica proton pack. And so I started building one on the road, and I made one out of foam core and Sintra. And I liked it. I thought it was really, really good. And I got the jumpsuit and the boots and the patches, and it was okay. Like, it was just sort of this entry level sort of cosplay, as good as I could make it with the time that I had. And then Kim's Convenience was made into a television series. And then I saw that Andrew Fung, who plays Kimchi on the show, he's from Calgary as well. And I grew up in Calgary. And we became Facebook friends because we were going to be working together. And I was creeping his Facebook page, and I saw he had like a Cadillac version of the proton pack, the fiberglass shell, lights and sound, resin parts. I was like, damn, I want that. And so I made it my mind. It was like, okay, I'm going to upgrade. I'm going to start my own build. And I started slowly procuring parts for my Cadillac build, right? And I got a shell from a guy in Texas. I loved the detail on it. I started getting, collecting all the greeblies and going, like, scouring the different sites for all the different resistors, the Dale resistors that you needed. I went to a couple of fabricators, and I got an aluminum thrower, the kit parts, all that stuff. And so for like a year, I was procuring parts. And then once Kim's was done, I built the proton pack in about a month. And it was just like sort of putting all together. And then, and a costume was, I got the screen, like an actual UWO flight suit instead of a Rothko sort of like off the rack version. And I got the accurate patches, the Cochrane boots. And I just fell in love with that whole idea of trying to make it look as screen accurate as possible. And that was just for me. That was the level that I wanted to aspire towards. Whoever cosplays, I know it's such an individual journey, and it's whatever makes you happy, absolutely go for. And everybody's got different skill sets, everybody's got different budgets, everybody's got different constraints. There are people who can fabricate and sew beautiful costumes. I can't do that. I don't have the patience. I haven't learned how to sew yet. And so, what I love is this is sort of an individual journey, but it's a shared group experience, and we can enjoy it with each other, and we can give each other's tips. And, if you need help with certain things, you can ask the community for advice, and you get a lot of people who are willing to help you out. And at the end of the day, it's when you put on that costume and people look at you and they smile because they recognize it, and it brings back some really, really happy memories, or they just love what you've done, then that makes it all worthwhile. And that's what I love about cosplay.
Right on.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
you still have the proton pack?
Oh yeah, I've got like 5 of them now.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I think I just stumbled on your Facebook you doing a video with that outfit on from back in 2015.
Oh yeah. Pigeon Road, we did a feature on my proton pack and the cosplaying and why, like, it's just it was a labor of love. And it's just also like I'm a nerd and a geek, and I wear that proud. Fly that flag very, very proudly, and happy to share that with others.
Right on. All right. Well, we've only got a few minutes left with you. Quick question that I know a lot of people have been really anxious to know about is, when are we going to get more Carson Teva merchandise?
Oh man, you know what? Talk to Hasbro. Everybody write to Hasbro. Hasbro hates me. That's my mantra. They hate me. I mean, God, you just picked off a scab that just.
Oh, sorry.
Honestly, here's the thing. So my character's been. Oh, fuck, you just opened up a can of worms. Okay. Well, here's the thing. I mean, like, my character is in 3 different shows, right? Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Blink and You Miss Me, but I'm there, and Ahsoka, right? I've been in a number of episodes. 2, 4 in The Mandalorian, 1 in Boba Fett, 3 in Ahsoka. That's almost 10 episodes of Star Wars content that I've been in. My character has 4 different looks, right? My character isn't just a guy that sort of like peeks around the corner. That's it. They've grown the character of Carson Teva. He's actually driven the narrative at some point, right? And so he's more than just a throwaway kind of character. He's not a leading character, but he's there. He's there. We know he served with Harrison Dula. We know he knows Zeb. He's got a relationship with Chopper, the only one who can hold him back from killing everybody in that room, right? He knows C-3PO, right? So he's got these touches to the main sort of like the main sort of alpha universe of Star Wars characters. But Hasbro won't make a figure like a Carson Teva 3.75 inch, a Black Series. But what they will do is give you the Mandalorian Judge, who's in like 1 episode for 30 seconds going fight, right? What they will do is give you the Mandalorian fleet commander, who has 2 lines of dialogue. What they will do is give you an E-Wing fighter with Lieutenant Callahan, who's in it for like 30 seconds. That's, hey, yeah, by all means, Hasbro, you go. And I'm not saying this to knock against any of the actors who are in there. They've done a fine job. They deserve it. I think it's great. They're cool characters. And I get it with Mandalorians. It's the same mold. It's a repaint. It's a repack. I get it. But when the constant snubbing of, hey, next in the pipeline, we have another Mandalorian version of the Mandalorian, this time with a cape with holes. Or, we have another legacy character. Yes. It's another version of, characters that we already have figures of. It gets hard. And I've heard the whole, well, we don't have a pilot mold, and that's going to be really difficult. Coming out next from Hasbro Pulse, we've got the Rebel Alliance pilot pack. 4 distinct Rebel pilots. Those are new molds. So fuck you, Hasbro. Sorry. Did I say that out loud? Wow.
It's okay.
Didn't mean that. No,
you know what, Paul? I think they need to make an X-Wing. They need to make a Carson Teva and an R7. I would buy that pack tomorrow.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
I think so. Hasbro doesn't. But hey, I've got a Black Series helmet, which is great. It's out there. It's selling really, really well, right? It's like, I don't think you're going to see those at Ollie's for $30 anytime soon. They're still selling, which is great. But it literally is the least Hasbro can do. It's a repaint and a repack. But Hasbro does that really, really well anyways, right? So, I mean, that's they've got the mold for the helmet. It's just another paint job on it, and they change the box and, put a different sound chip in there. So, like, the majority of the helmet exists. But I love it. Go to cons, and I see so many people with those helmets wanting to get them signed. It is amazing. And, go to Disney parks, and people have been sending me pictures of like the helmet walls of it, and, it sells. So I'm really, really happy about that. So it's more of a thing that I use to make people laugh now, the rant, where I get to sort of espouse that Hasbro hates me.
There is
well, that was awesome.
There's a certain account on Twitter, and if I can find the post again, I'll tag you in it, Paul. But they did a custom Lego build to make an X-Wing look just like yours, and found the how it's kind of that reddish brown on the side of the nose.
Yeah.
They found some bricks that that mimic it really well, and I'll look for that. I'll tag you on it so you can see it. But it was an outstanding a custom build that somebody did in your honor.
There is this that's come out, and I became aware of this when I was God, what con was it? I think it was GalaxyCon in Raleigh. It's a Hot Wheels Carson Teva X-Wing. And so I immediately was like, oh, why have I not heard of this before? And I found out because I had to sign one. And so I immediately did the Google search and was able to procure these. But like, keep your eyes open for this, folks. This is it is, and it's got right down to the green astromech in the back.
Nice.
That's very cool.
I've been looking for it. Still haven't yet to find it.
Paul's Mart, Paul's shop, Paul's Mart, or something online. I had to go online and get from the US.
Probably where I'll end up having to go eventually.
Yeah, probably. So I had a real random off the wall question, and I promised somebody I would ask this. There's been a debate going on Twitter, and this is going to sound like a really off the wall question, but there is an account that goes by Adelphi Rangers.
Oh yeah,
and okay, so the rumor online is that is a burner account of yours because it's constantly promoting Carson Teva.
I love that. It is. I can unequivocally say that's not me. I don't have time for that, guys. Come on, man. Like, and I don't. I have a hard enough time just promoting myself on my real channels, right? To go through the trouble of creating that just to boost Carson Teva. That's kind of, I'm more than flattered that somebody else is actually doing that, but it's not me. It's so not me.
I figured, but I told him I'd ask because it's been a running joke, and even when we were at Motor City after we had met you, he DM'd me and was like, "Well, did you ask him?" And I'm like,
"Oh no, I mean that I can tell the truth. It's like I have no idea who it is, but I love that they love me.
Yes,
it's just like, yeah, man, because that's kind of what you kind of hoping for when your fans advocate for you. I think that's awesome.
Yeah,
and
well,
so
I think it goes back to what you talked about. You're the everyday man. And I think a lot of people can relate to. If you're in the Star Wars universe, I think the most common job, of course, the Jedi are the glory seekers, but it's the X-Wing pilots that really are the bread and butter, of getting things done. And really love what you've done in the universe, and the fact that you're the only named character that's been on all of the Mando-verse shows so far. And
Ahsoka Tano.
Has Ahsoka been in every one?
Ahsoka's been in.
Oh, she has. That's right. You're absolutely right. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Stand corrected.
Yeah.
But it's elite company, right? I mean, it's only two of you that have been in all the shows, and don't answer, but we're also hoping that you'll be in some of the new shows as well. So, we won't do anything real quick. So as we start to wrap up with you, wanted a chance to just also talk briefly and down the road too, we'd love to have you back on and talk just about collecting, because you do your fun boxing Sundays, and we're collectors as well, so we'd love to have you back on down the road, talk about collecting. But let's talk. You've got two projects that you have coming up that have been announced. One is the second and the other is the Murdoch Mysteries.
Right. Yeah. So the second is the short film. Tony Zhu and Taylor Ramos, they have a YouTube channel called Every Picture Has a Frame, which is wildly popular. I didn't know this. They approached me and pitched me to be the lead in that short film, and I love the script, and I met them, and they're nerds too, and I love that. And so just went and did it and had a blast. And the whole premise is it is a society where dueling is still legal, basically. And I played the second, or like whoever's in the duel, they have the person backing them up, and they're called the second, and they take care of the negotiating and prepping the weapons and stuff like that. And my son in the film is the person I'm being the second to. And so it's a really, really lovely short film, heartbreaking in many ways, and beautifully shot. too. And so like the story really drew me to that project there. And so that's had its premiere at the Montreal in Montreal at the Fantasia Film Fest, which is great, and it did really, really well there. I wish I'd been able to attend, but I was busy shooting Murdoch Mysteries, which is the show that I'm currently on right now. It is a staple of Canadian television. It's in its 18th season. It's set in the early 1900s, and it is ostensibly about Detective William Murdoch, who has a photographic memory and uses scientific methods and invent like sort of the precursor to modern police techniques that he's applying to the old timey ways. And so it's a period piece set in Toronto, and I play Inspector Albert Choi, who's the new head of Station House 4, where Detective Murdoch works out of. So yeah, it's been an absolute thrill to be on that show. Again, it is one of these ubiquitous Canadian TV series, and I'm happy to finally get on it.
Right on. Very cool. Very cool.
Awesome.
Do you have any con appearances coming up?
Yeah, LA Comic-Con is next in early October, I think 4th, 5th, and 6th. And then after that, there is GalaxyCon in Columbus, Ohio. And then we'll see what happens, because it's all dependent. Like 2025 is going to be a big, busy year. It's going to be, oh my God, it's going to be even busier than this year. And there's a number of different cons that we're hoping to be able to clear the schedule for, or fit into the schedule, as it were.
Right on. Right on.
Awesome.
Very cool. And where can everyone find everything Paul Sun-Hyung Lee?
You can find me. I'm not on Twitter anymore. And so not as much. At least I used to be on there every once in a while, but I find it so toxic now. I just sort of stay back. But I'm mostly on Instagram. So you can find me on Instagram at Angry Appa. And that's my account. Look for the blue verified check on there, because that's me. Don't fall for phone. There's so many fake accounts out there that are pretending to be me. I will never DM you and ask you for money. I will never, just chill. If you don't see that blue verified check, it's not me. So that's that. I've got my own YouTube channel. It's called Bitter Asian Dude Inc. And yeah, Fun Boxing Sundays was a thing, but I've been so busy I haven't been able to do that in quite a while. But what I have been able to do is Saturday night live stream with a few of my friends, where we just do what you guys are doing, just talk about nerdy things, Star Wars, the state of geek affairs in pop culture and media. Yeah, so that's on Saturday nights, usually around 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
So yeah, check that out. And I'm also part of another couple of podcasts, Boba Squadron on Monday nights, where we do recaps of the different Star Wars shows. But yeah, I'm around, but usually Angry Appa on Instagram is where I'm most active there.
Right on. Very cool.
Excellent.
Very cool. Well, thank you. We appreciate you coming on, Paul. We really appreciate your time with us. We know you've been a busy filming, and we appreciate that you squeezed out the time for us on this milestone episode. Right before we let you go, all of our guests on the show become honorary members of Brown Squadron. Okay. And with that, you get a flight designation and a call sign. Oh. And so you are... and you're always an invitation. Like I said, we'd love to have you back, talk about collecting at some point. And so
collecting and Ghostbusters. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Ghostbusters.
Right.
Yeah,
on.
for sure.
Brown 59 is your flight designation. And we usually do the call signs somewhat Star Wars related. We usually do deep dives, but because you're a named character, the obvious choice, of course, would be Teva. But we also want to allow you an option that if you wanted to choose something different, some other ones we came up with were Whiskers, Appa, Carson. So if there's something in particular you'd like, because I did notice at Star Wars you don't have like a call sign yet that they've aired on the show.
Right.
We had Vanessa Marshall on. We offered her hair, she took mullet instead. Right. But we like to reserve the named characters for the actual performers that portray them.
Right.
But is there any particular one that strikes your fancy?
I'm like Whiskers made me chuckle.
Okay.
Kind of like that. Whiskers or the beard, I think would be nice.
The beard. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's. So we are going to mark it down as. If I can spell correctly. All right, Brown 59 Whiskers. It is. Rock on. And like I said, we really appreciate you coming on the show and spending a few minutes with us. And welcome to the crew, Whiskers. And like I said, open invitation anytime you want to come back.
Very cool. Thanks for having me, guys.
So
Thanks for being on.
Thanks for joining us, Paul.
Take care.
Yeah, take care. Wow.
Oh, that was awesome.
What an amazing dude.
I could have talked to him for an hour about Ghostbusters by itself.
I got to play this
He is
really
a
quick.
huge fan. Well,
Hey,
play
this
with
is the coolest thing you've ever done.
So,
Hey, don't we have a picture somewhere of us with him?
oh, we do. Yeah, we got to meet him at Motor City Con, and
Got it.
Sure, you got it. There it is.
There it is.
Oh, look at those guys.
Nice guy, super nice guy. Nice family. He's been a joy to talk to.
But I got.
Look at that one.
The real star of the show, right there,
Nice.
ladies and gentlemen.
I wanted to ask him about that mustache because that was wicked cool. That
for the Murdoch mysteries
the
that he's got
period
rocking.
piece, yeah.
Yeah, when he first appeared on screen, I figured that must be the show he's filming right now. And
Yeah.
and so that everybody watching and listening understands. So this interview has been tentatively scheduled for the last month, 6 weeks, and we've been on tentative status because he's busy. He's filming. And originally we thought we weren't going to get him until the fall, but when I reached out and said, hey, we got our 100th episode rolling up, we'd love to have you as the star on that show, and he is super fan friendly and said yes, and tentatively, obviously, because if they had ran long, schedules got changed, he was going to have to back out. And we really appreciate him coming on with us tonight to celebrate this milestone of an
Absolutely.
episode. So let's see, any other comments? Nice.
Tanya, we still got to fight for the Teva and Reed show for him.
I know.
He deserves his
absolutely.
own show in the Mando-verse.
Absolutely. He could. That could be pulled off very easily.
Yeah.
We pulled it off, guys. So something we didn't get a chance to talk with him about. There's a show. So when a story that I have about when first seeing Carson Teva in season 2 of Mando, he, watching him, I was like, there was something familiar about the character or about the actor. And I'm like, what, where do I know him from? And, he went on, play more episodes as Carson Teva. Then I found out about Kim's Convenience, started watching that and binged that whole series. Great show. And in today's age of Gen X influenced sitcoms where they're edgy, raunchy, full of bitter sarcasm that us Gen Xers are known for.
It's the only language we speak.
It is. Kim's Convenience is a breath of fresh air in terms of it's kind of an old school, feel good comedy sitcom.
And that's what I meant by something I would normally watch, because it is a little more of a feel good, cleaner sitcom than I would normally watch.
Another show that's similar, but with a more foul language would be Ted Lasso, where again, it's kind of a feel good show. But Kim's Convenience is your old school PG rated, about a family, and it's a really good show, and I can't recommend it enough. Really, it's just, and it's something you can watch with your kids, because DB, I know.
Yeah, I was watching with my 13-year-old, and she was cracking up. I mean, he's got some great comedic skills. I don't know if they're natural or but just, I mean, the difference between Appa and Carson, who's far more serious. I mean, she even commented about what a great actor to play two different roles, such dramatically different roles. And the role of Appa is so relatable as a middle-aged guy,
Yeah.
just a dad trying to do his best and provide for his family. Oh my God.
For sure. And so
relatable.
To finish the story that I started, I was watching Kim's Convenience, and I'm like, why does he just seem so familiar? Well, there was a 2015, 2017 sci-fi show, that was filmed up in Canada called Dark Matter, not to be confused with the current Dark Matter that's on Apple TV has a Star Wars alumni, Joel Edgerton. DB and I have talked a little bit about it. That's a great show as well. But Dark Matter was a true sci-fi show from Sci-Fi Network, and he was in one episode of it. And there he is right there as a scientist. And as I was looking through pictures today, it dawned on me that Jean Yoon, who plays his wife in Kim's Convenience, was the other scientist in that episode of Dark Matter. And you can kind of start to see the same actors in the same groups. And I thought that was very cool. And he can talk to us a little bit about off air about that. And that was it was funny because she actually did she was also like a major character in The Expanse, and filmed that before that Dark Matter show. But I think the funniest thing about that whole story when we shared it with Paul was that she actually, as you can see, she has short hair in this, and on Kim's Convenience, she has more almost shoulder length. And he was telling us that her hair was actually shorter than what I just showed you in that picture, because it was a wig that she wears in Kim's Convenience. So a little behind the scenes.
Don't break the magic, Brown Leader. Are you going to tell me next that Paul doesn't actually fly an X-Wing in Mando?
See, he got quiet.
So anyway,
I'm out of here.
So they actually got to sit in one of the X-Wing. I learned that there are more X-Wing. There's more X-Wing footage than what's been shown in Mando that he's filmed for those early episodes that he was in, and definitely want to see that for sure. And they use the style. They use the style of cockpit that's immersive, rocks, turns. So you, as an actor, I imagine that really helps with the whole. And then the coolest thing was, and I can kind of see it now, his helmet. So when they were designing this helmet for his role, for screen tests and fit tests and everything, they actually had him use Biggs's helmet while this one was getting painted and created. And so there's got to be a picture of him out there somewhere with Biggs's helmet on, which would be pretty cool.
All right, I have a mission.
Pretty cool. So, yeah, wow, 100 episodes. There was a question earlier on. We can touch on to kind of start to wrap up the show. Brownie 4 said clip that, and that was around the time that the one and only expletive was declared on this show. So boy, I didn't mean to pick a scab there. Whew.
That was about scab to pick. That was awesome.
From a certain point, Skew had posted this. Love the tension between Teva and Elia Kane in that episode of Mandalorian. I would have loved to have talked to him about that. Yeah. Again, as he just describes it, he's kind of kicking people verbally. I think of it as more as like poking them with a stick, kind of verbally, to get them to react on things. But there was and thank you everybody for jumping in the chat tonight, asking questions. Hopefully we tried to hit as many of them as possible, and then we got to them. But I think there was a comment in here somewhere, people asking what were our what's kind of our favorites from the last 100 episodes. And I think that would kind of be a good spot to start to wrap up for tonight. Any thoughts?
Well, can we start at the bottom of my least favorite? That would be 2 episodes ago when my audio didn't work.
Oh, you know,
That was an awesome episode. I just love to watch that dumpster fire go.
You know, if you had been on the
there
show
we go.
that week, Scruff.
Do each of you from Brown 55 Sterling, do each of you have a favorite out of those 100? So, least go ahead, Scruff.
Well, I touched on it a little bit. You know, that episode with Vanessa Marshall was awesome. Chris Bartlett, Dave Jones. You know, those are some of my favorite episodes. You know, those are on-screen actors that, you know, just a nobody from Northern Michigan would never have been able to talk to were it not for this format here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you know, the episodes we did with Rule the Galaxy, Force Dad, some of our other podcast friends out there. Sorry if I didn't throw the name out there, but you know, those are always fun episodes too.
Yep.
Just sitting around with a bunch of nerds talking Star Wars.
Yeah. I think that's been, as we're starting to get a few more celebrity quote unquote guests, you know, it's how do you pick your favorite, obviously, but I'm right there with you, Scruffy. I think it's been all the conversations we've had, you know, with people, other fans, and that's how we've kind of approached this show the whole time. Even the Spotchka, the extra bonus 25 episodes, you know, it's all been about just talking about fandom. I think it was Yubcast that, you know, described us in one of their episodes as a fandom based podcast, and Matt kind of hit the nail on the head, I think, a little bit there. That's really kind of where we've been. We love talking with fans of all levels, other podcasters, non-podcasters, celebrities, and we've been lucky that all of the celebrity that we've had, they're, you know, the theme is they're all fans. They're all fans of the genre. Also,
we should all say Death Sticks was our favorite episode.
Yeah, Death Sticks.
Yeah. So he doesn't feel bad tomorrow.
The other thing I noticed too is that for the on-screen guests that we've had, both Paul and Chris Bartlett got into, one of their major ways getting in was through cosplay. Right. There's some stories of Paul really kind of like, you know, he has an X-Wing pilot suit that's so accurate. He was helping Wardrobe design his at Lucasfilm, and you know, obviously, and then Chris Bartlett's story, you know, the C-3PO story, or how he got his job at EA, you know, doing the Sand Trooper cosplay and to drop off his portfolio and everything. And yeah, it's all these stories that definitely are my favorites. A special episode for me would be episode 50, which is an audio only episode. And that is with Hugh Howey, author Hugh Howey.
Oh,
and
yes.
That was a special episode for me on a couple levels. One, it was my first attempt to really get somebody, a celebrity on the show, or, you know, somebody out there in the industry. And he's an author. If you have Apple and you've seen the Silo series, he wrote the books that Silo is made from, and he's also a producer on the show now, or a consultant or something, but and was in the final episode. But my grandmother introduced me to his books. He was part of the whole Kindle revolution, e-reader revolution, publishing his books just through the Kindle at first. And we used to just chat about his books all the time. And so to be able to talk to that author, who my grandmother and I used to have a lot of conversations about, was definitely a special episode for me. But favorite would have to be this episode, and then next week it'll be the next episode, and the next, because we're still doing this after 3 years, guys.
And I didn't think we'd have enough content to last us 6, 7, 8 episodes.
Right.
We did it! Yay!
Sorry. Yeah, I remember us talking.
Look, we made him happy.
Yes. I remember the first getting ready for the first episode. You're like, I think Scruff, you're like, well, how long do you think it's going to be? And I was like, well, we'll see if we can hit 30 minutes. We'll see if we can stretch it to that. And
Yeah, we have yet to keep it at
now we don't
under an
shut
hour.
up.
right.
Now we got you in the background going, come on, guys, we got to wrap this up. Let's go.
Yep. Using the private chat to go.
And
TikTok.
and DB and I are completely ignoring you. Whatever.
So, yeah.
So that episode 50 with
Hugh Howey.
That was the author of iZombie, right?
Yes.
Yes, that Hugh. If I would love to get Hugh Howey on to talk about that book.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
That is truly a disturbing book, and you guys have got to read that.
Right on.
I don't think I was on that
awesome.
episode. Where the heck was I? Was I off on assignment?
I think you're at cheer camp. I just made that up. I don't know for sure.
This one time at cheer camp.
This one time at cheer camp.
This one time at cheer camp.
That's all right. That's okay. Yeah. You're gonna pump our gas someday. Show me your spirit fingers.
I'll have you know, Brownie 4 is a national champion.
Yes, she is.
And we're very proud of her. Absolutely.
Yep. Her team actually, from our teams in Traverse City, there's 4 levels. All 4 teams took first place in their divisions in the national. So I'm very proud of those kids.
That's awesome.
So, I'm thankful you guys have not shown any pictures of me from those events. So
not yet.
You're going to save those, right?
Oh, absolutely.
That's going to be a special outtakes episode.
150th extravaganza.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, right. Word. Yes. Okay. Excellent.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah. We had wanted to do a expanded collection corner segment with Paul because he is a huge collector. He hasn't, like he said, he's been busy. He hasn't done a Fun Boxing Sunday. Those are great episodes that he does when he gets a chance to do them on Facebook. I've guerrilla marketed and jumped in on the chat on those a couple times, and
nice.
Yeah, super nice guy. But yeah, as you can see, Paul is just a super fan friendly, counts his blessings, like he talked about the fact that he's gotten the break to do what he really has found a passion to do, and couldn't be happier for the guy, and was really yeah. And Hasbro, come on.
Right.
Come on, Hasbro. You got to do better.
Mm-hmm.
You got 3 pre-orders right here. Make it happen.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right on. Absolutely, without a doubt. So yeah, for Collection Corner this week, I don't really have Scruffy. I showed DB this last week.
Okay, where did it come from?
Mrs. Brown Leader, Thrift Fine.
Okay, well, I know something else I gotta have now. Mm-hmm. Awesome.
And some more flair.
Yes, you need flair. We need to get you. You need at least
flair.
37 pieces of flair.
Yep.
Who's your daddy?
And
I just got what
I just soon as
yes. One of my favorite lines.
There it is. So yeah, I don't think we really have much for Collection Corner. I don't think any of us really added much.
I have been digging stuff out and getting ready for the ICCC.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right on. So, did we? Oh, all 3 of us are sitting here.
I did finally start to put together the.
Ooh, nice.
Bosch helmet. Absolutely.
Nice.
Started working on it. So all 3 of us are here. Yes.
Thank you, Brownie, for Brownie 1. It's been a while. If you guys got a few minutes, should we finally do another DB's Blockbuster?
Oh, I don't know if we have enough time for it, but
yeah, we might want to say that.
Do you want to do it? I got the intro ready.
I don't even know if I have my notes from it. Oh my word. I'm super geek because I love this movie, so let's just do it.
I watched it.
Bring it on.
2 months ago. All right.
I watched it probably a week ago. I love that movie.
All right.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Set that hyperdrive to plaid. It's time for another episode of DB's Blockbuster.
All right. So,
yes.
DB's Blockbuster. Actually, I don't
Cobra.
Yeah, this was assigned by somebody outside of our podcast, I do believe.
It was. And you know what? Matt, if you're still in the chat from Yubcast, you know exactly who requested this. This is from Jamie in Yubcast. When I did a season 1 of Clone Wars wrap-up show with them, and we were talking a little bit about our show and talking about DB's Blockbusters, and Jamie was like, you need to do Cobra. So yes, that is exactly what we did.
Yes. That movie was awesome. I loved it back then, and I love it even more today. Dude, he's the original Matchstick, man.
That's true.
With crosshair and his Matchstick. Cobra. It was the original. That was the epic piece of him, man. And the car was pretty cool too.
That car took a beating.
That car took an epic beating, but it still exists today. The Hero car is still out there. It is in private hands. The original car from the TV show.
You would know that.
Yes, I would, because I'm a nerd like that. Yes, there it is.
Crime is a disease. Meet the cure.
The cure.
You know what? I was trying to think of the best way to describe this movie, and it's simultaneously the most horrific and glorious example of 80s action movies.
You shut your mouth. It is not horrific. It is epically awesome. It is epically awesome. Even the lines. I'll blow this building up. I don't shop here.
I don't care.
I don't shop here. Yes. And I just like to point something out real quick. I'm just going to get this out right now so that you guys can fight about it for a few minutes. Because we all know that I am not a fan of Die Hard being a Christmas movie. But fine, if Die Hard is a Christmas movie, then so is Cobra. It's got the Toys R Us commercials in it, the decorations. This is totally a Christmas movie.
I'm down with that.
I won't argue it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that was a little easier than I thought it would be. All right. Well, what do I do with all this pent-up fight here?
So, DB, why don't you give a quick synopsis of the movie?
Sylvester Stallone, or Marion Cobretti.
Marion Cobretti, yes.
Is just a badass cop. I mean, the opening bit there in the grocery store is just so 80s. Let me tell you, the first time I ever watched this movie, I was in Mexico, and it was dubbed in Spanish, and my Spanish skills were quite limited in 1986 or 87, whatever it was. I still understood every second of the movie. I didn't need to speak the language, all right? Scruff, this is your movie. You're the expert. You give the play-by-play on this one.
All right, so Marion Cobretti, a.k.a. Cobra, is a cop that does a job that nobody wants, basically. He is that when everything's going wrong and the mission seems impossible, he's the one that they send in to clean up the mess. And, of course, as being the one that is sent in to clean up the mess, he is dubbed the ultra-violent cop who uses excessive force. And even accused him of that, and he said, I used whatever force was necessary, or a line similar to that. I can't remember exactly what it was. But he is part of this unit that goes in and cleans these messes up, and there is a series of, there's a cult-like group that are going around murdering people. They're kind of they're just a weird semi-religious cult, I guess you could say. And they're targeting specific individuals. She's a model, I guess, a model that witnesses one of their crimes, and she can identify the main killer. And of course, they start targeting her. She ends up being protected by Cobra and his sidekick, the lesser violent, still sarcastic cop. And the whole thing culminates where they make their final stand, and just 80s gratuitous violence and people getting shot and cars doing jumps and stuff, and the whole 80s action scene ensues, and they take out the bad guy with absolute gratuitous violence and awesomeness.
Yeah, doesn't the bad guy, how do I put this nicely, meet up with a hooker at the end? Didn't he put him on the hook?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay, come on, guys. I tried to make a really bad joke, and it went...
Well,
that one. Yeah,
it was a bad joke. It did exactly what it was intended to.
Yeah,
do.
we don't need to do the dad joke tonight. I just did it.
Yes, you're right. So yeah, it is an awesome movie. The car was a 50s Ford or Mercury lead sled, sitting low to the ground, and like I said, that car is actually still in existence today. It is in a private collection somewhere. I got on a kick one day and I was kind of looking at movie cars. One of my other favorite movie cars was the Camaro from Better Off Dead.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I digress. It was an awesome movie, one of my favorites from the 80s. When you brought it up, I've been geeked about it, and I've been complaining it hasn't been talked about ever since. And I actually have a date on here of when it was, more or less when it was assigned, because no sooner did we assign it, and I went out and watched it. I bought it on Amazon Prime and watched it. That was May 2nd. For those of us who don't have a calendar in front of you right now, it is August 14th. I have been waiting to talk about this movie since May 2nd.
All right, and that concludes DB's.
Oh no, you just wait till the next assignment, Brown Leader.
So there's because we always have to try to, DB always tries to make this connection with every DB's blockbuster that we do. There is a Star Trek adjacent.
Bad guy has a wicked awesome knife. He does that. That knife is totally cool.
And speaking of which, so there is a Star Trek adjacent connection to this movie, which is the bad guy himself, Brian Thompson, who not only played a punk in Terminator, but he had a role in the Orville, which of course we all know is more Trek than Trek. So better Trek than Trek. So
yes, it is.
So there's your Trek connection right there.
I can live with that Trek connection.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That I won't live with.
Right on. So
what was at the DB's? Oh wait. Yeah, you keep going there. I got something to play for you.
Just live long and suck it. I get it.
Oh no, I want to play. It's been forever since I played this.
It's been forever since all three of us have been on this show.
Are you saying I'm no Will
That's
Wheaton?
True. Yeah, that's exactly what
No, I'm no Will Wheaton. You're right.
Right. So
Will Wheaton is cool if you follow him on social.
Right.
Long and suck it.
There you go.
Yes.
There we go. All right. Anything else to say about Cobra?
It was awesome.
I will say something that caught my eye during the chase scene where his car gets demolished. I do have to say, and I wonder how many models of that car they had.
4.
Okay. So the damage on the car, there was because of Brownie 4, sometimes these things catch my eye. There is continuity in the damage as it's taking damage. Obviously not the damage for when it jumps and all that damage it creates in reality, but like the dings and the headlights being busted out and the all those little things as you watch that whole chase scene, the continuity is there. And for a movie like this, I would have expected at least a few mistakes.
They did a great job with that for sure. Because one of the continuity scenes that bugged the heck out of me is the Terminator, where they jump the motorcycle and the semi truck. Really?
Right.
It is a Christmas movie. I'll deal with you later.
Right.
It comes down. You can see the damage on the front of the semi. It doesn't match the damage prior to it. And that's one of those little scenes that kind of bugged me. But yeah, on this one, the continuity was really, really good for what it was. Because they weren't trying to make a masterpiece. It was another Stallone 80s shoot 'em up, bang up, gratuitous violence movie.
But you just said it was a masterpiece.
Yeah, come on.
Well, in my opinion, it was a masterpiece. That's not what they were set out to create.
Okay,
but that is what they created.
Right. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Anything else about Cobra? And every time I think of the movie, I watched so much G.I. Joe as a kid. All I can hear in my head is their war cry.
Cobra!
Cobra!
Great. So, thank you. Thanks for
I'm waiting for the sequel.
I wish I had that soundbite now.
I know, right?
Right. All right. So, DB,
what's our next movie?
What is our next assignment that will be due by 2025?
Well, it took me 6 months to watch this. And Brown Leader, I know you have yet to watch it.
All right, and this is so. Anyway, we're gonna wrap up the show now.
Yeah,
you have been listening.
Nope, it's time for Scruffy and DB.
If we had to suffer, so do you, brother.
I'm having connection issues.
Nice try. Are you in the same place as Paul was a couple hours ago?
Apparently, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is for Maya. We are going to talk about the biggest piece of crap I have ever seen in my life.
We already did an episode on
Resistance?
Last Jedi? Yeah. Okay.
No, Resistance. No, Resistance. Wow.
No, we already did an episode on Resistance. That was our dumpster fire episode.
No, I won't be that judgmental until we talk about it. But we're going to watch Turkish Star Wars. I have no idea what the actual title is. And I probably could.
Isn't it something like Maya? I know you're on right now.
It's The Man Who Saved the Universe.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
come on, Maya. I know you're on right now. What is the title?
To any of our listeners, if we haven't lost you all yet, find this thing on YouTube because you will appreciate the Acolyte after this. All right, those of you that hate the Acolyte.
Oh, that's harsh.
I like the Acolyte. That's a whole different story.
You'll appreciate Resistance after this.
You'll appreciate Resistance. You'll appreciate.
Oh yes, right here it is. Hold on, the man
who saved the world.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow. It is bad.
All right.
Let's leave it for the next time because DB. I'm DB. Brown Leader BL has to watch this because we've suffered through it.
It is. Yeah, it is. It was 2 hours.
Well, I think 100 episodes been a good run, guys. I think that's.
How did we go from Paul Sun-Hyung Lee to this?
Oh, wait. Does it make the holiday special look good?
Oh, no. The holiday special will be hung in the Louvre compared to this.
Yes. The holiday special is a masterpiece compared to this.
Find it on YouTube. You'll be amazed.
Okay.
Yeah, no idea how bad it is.
All right. So that's the assignment. All right. Great. So I can.
All right. And no. Let's put a due date on this there.
No. Anyway.
Coming Christmas 2024. Yes.
Christmas by Christmas 2024. Okay, I can live with that.
Did I say 24? I meant 25.
Yeah. So
no.
All right. You know what? That is already such a downer of a note. I don't think that we can bring it down with a dad joke of the week because that would actually be an uptick. So
yeah.
Come on.
Plus we're pushing an hour and 45 of us yapping our gums.
All right. Ready?
All right.
Say the sound bit.
Dad joke of the week. Time to annoy Scruffy and DB. Dad joke of the week. I kind of wish I'd looked for a Carson Teva one in here, but I didn't take the time to do that. All right, so this is courtesy of Kelly Knox's Star Wars dad joke. And this is our Star Wars dad joke of the week. All right, are you guys ready?
Ready.
All right. Okay. What do you call an Ewok without any teeth? A gummy bear. What are you doing?
Wait, I was gonna hit the.
Where's the womp
That
womp?
was Dad joke of the week. Now don't you feel absolutely complete?
All right. With that, I think that is episode 100 of the Hyperspace Heroes podcast.
A gummy bear.
The gummy bear. Yep. That's going to be our new catchphrase at work. So,
Yes.
if we talk to you and you say gummy bear, we know you watch the episode or listen to it. So, that's our secret code.
That's a secret code.
All right. Well, once again, thank you, Paul, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. And again, would love to have you on again to talk about collecting as we wanted to do that. We hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. We've enjoyed putting out 125 episodes. And I hope you enjoyed the special guest we had on tonight. And thank you for jumping in the chat and keeping it active. We really appreciate that. It's been a lot of fun as part of it too. Next time, maybe we'll get Paul outside of his filming schedule and the Legend of Gummy Bear Squadron. There you go. That's my boy coming through. So you're right on. So, all right. You guys know where to find us. We're on the 3 major socials plus the couple extras. So Twitter, Facebook,
Plus a couple extras.
Threads, and I got it linked.
Twitch.
So if I post to Instagram, it auto posts to Threads. So thank you. It's been a fun ride. Been enjoying it. And as Joe said at the beginning of the show, here's to 100 more. Facebook, Instagram, and X are the ones we're the most active on. You can find these live shows on YouTube, X, and Facebook. You can find all of our links to all of our shows, formats, sites at beacons.ai/Brown Squadron. And you can email us directly at brownsquadron@gmail.com. This has been episode 100. Next week, episode 101, we're going to have Anthony from Force Ghost Conversation. He was just recently at D23 and did a lot of man on this scene coverage. If you go look at his Twitter account, give him a follow, and he's going to be on the show next week to talk to us about D23. So looking forward to that episode. And yeah, I think with that, it's time to get out of here, guys. This is Brown Leader signing off for the crew, and you have been listening and watching Hyperspace Heroes. That's no moon.